We are one day away from the fixtures coming out. Here are 10 bold predictions for the 23-24 Championship season. 100 million. Now, we've had teams with big assets before, but Leicester could really reset the bar when it comes to transfer income for a team who's just come down. Maddison and Barnes look set to go straight back to the Premier League. And Ndidi and Castagna, many others also in the shop window with the super rich Saudi League sniffing around. Maybe I'm not being bold enough, but I think we could see well over 100 million coming in at Leicester. 2, parachute power. Now, everyone's saying it's going to be the toughest championship in years. That only happens if the big boys all get it right. Let's be honest, normally one of them doesn't, but what happens if they do? We've got 5 parachute teams, Leeds, Leicester, Southampton, as well as Watford and Norwich left over from last season. Could we see all 5 of them finish in the top 6 in a big display of parachute power? It could happen. 3, magic 80. Now, if we do get the really competitive league that people are expecting, then providing there's no absolute awful whipping boys down at the bottom and the big boys can all take points off each other, we could be in for a lower than average points haul up at the top. The lowest total to get second was Hull in 2013 with 79. So let's boldly predict an absolute royal rumble of a battle at the top, and 80 points will get you automatic promotion next season. 4, sacking insanity. Last season, 12 of the 24 Championship clubs, that's exactly half, sacked their managers. Some of those clubs even did it more than once. Could we see that number beaten and over half of the division in terms of clubs sack their manager? I don't want this to be the case, but I'm going to predict it is going to be the case. Normally, when we think football is going to get more sensible, it just gets sillier. 5, Watford wonder. Let's flip the script on the sackings then and boldly predict somebody to last the entire season without getting fired. At Watford, we have the brilliant mix of the crazy Pozzo ownership and big Val Ismail, who never stays in a job very long. Let's predict that the number 1 suspect in the sack race is actually going to still be manager at Watford this time next year. Halfway there, don't forget you can join us over on Patreon for some extra content and our regular round table debates. 1 has just gone up today. 6, no return. We have just lost Wigan, Reading and Blackpool. Reading are in all kinds of mess with their ownership, and Wigan are going to have to overcome a double points deduction. Neil Critchley has to win over the Blackpool fans once again. So my bold take is that none of them are going to be bouncing straight back to the Championship at the first time of asking. 7, League One leap. We will stay with League One, and it may or may not have escaped your notice, but Plymouth, Ipswich and Sheffield Wednesday scored 295 EFL points between them last season. They are all pretty well used to winning. Maybe this week's news out of Hillsborough ruins this one slightly, but how about this for a bold prediction? All 3 newly promoted teams to survive and thrive in the Championship. 8, Old Farm agony ends. Okay, bit of self-interest in this one, but it is 4,500 years since the pyramids were built, and it's 4,501 years since Ipswich last beat Norwich. They've been apart for 4 years, but they're back together, and could we actually see the unthinkable happen? Look, I'm sure my beloved Ipswich will find a new and improved way to mess it up and snatch a draw from the jaws of victory. But go on, let's do it. I predict this is the season that Ipswich will finally bloody beat Norwich. 9, Supply Lion continues. 3 Lions, you see what I've done, it'll make sense in a minute. England played on Monday, and of the 16 players they used, 10 had appeared in the Championship. Let's predict the supply line continues and that 10 players playing in the Championship this coming season will go on to all appear in an England squad together over the next 5 years. 10, minus misery. the last Championship season where none of the 24 clubs received the points deduction was 2017-18. So that is 5 seasons in a row someone's got deducted points, and in the last 4 seasons, one of the teams with points deductions at least got relegated. I absolutely do not want this to be the case, but would anybody really be surprised if someone got deducted points and went down with the deduction next season? That is my 10 bold, somewhat slightly outlandish predictions for the Championship going forward. Get involved in the comments. It's supposed to be a bit of fun, so why not get your own bold, slightly outlandish predictions in down below. Of course, looking at number 10, we don't want to see anyone get deducted points, but you can click here to see what Price of Football's Kieran Maguire said when I asked who is most likely to get a points deduction in next season's Championship.